Good day and Happy New Year. Welcome once again to this special edition of Spotlight we call GM's Corner, a regular series of short conversations with LMOA's General Manager Steve Hurwitz about what's on his agenda and what's on his mind. Happy New Year, Mr. General Manager.
Ron, Happy New Year to you.
Thank you very much. Apparently a lot of folks were expressing those same kind of wishes to each other at the pub on New Year's Eve. Quite a program.
That's true, and it was a great event, well subscribed, overflow crowd, well, almost overflow, let's say, a full crowd, and I was not here. I had to be away with family, but I got a chance to follow it virtually as it was happening, and people really seemed to be enjoying themselves. The food was great, and a good time was had by all. So that's a great thing that our F&B folks were able to deliver on a big occasion such as New Year's, and I think there's much more of that to come.
Yeah. Well, the general food and beverage manager, Andrew, actually, to use the phrase, cooked up an event for this past Monday night in the college football championship here at the pub, kind of a special menu from chef, and take another one of these special events into account.
The great thing about Andrew that we learned about him since he arrived a very short time ago, he's not afraid to try things that he thinks will appeal to the membership and the people that come into the pub or over at Ashlawn to Lakeview. And so this was a new event, and I think there's many more of those to come. And as people get used to knowing that those kind of events will be available, I think we'll continue to have increased patronage and participation. We do have the Super Bowl coming up. That's all I know.
Yeah.
And not predicting anything, but you know, Andrew is quick to act on things that look like they ought to appeal. And in some cases, you start slow and then build up as people get aware of those kind of opportunities to come and enjoy the building that they built and the programs that are available.
Yeah, we've touched on before the changes that he's made and changes to menu, et cetera, which sort of seem to be going well. How do you gauge the response to the changes in the menu at the pub in Ashlawn?
Ron, it's a great question. Because it's a bit of an art. And so Andrew, with deep experience in food and beverage, knows how to do the following. He takes the data that's available, which really comes in two main ways. One is we get inputs from people all the time. Andrew does directly, I do. Judy Fish, our communications director, gets inputs directly to her or on social media. And that all goes to Andrew for consideration and so forth. And right after Andrew started and then put in a new menu, we did get a lot of feedback about various aspects of the new menu. And Andrew, again, quick on his feet, came up with another version of menus both at the pub and at Ashlawn. And that seems to have taken hold and become very popular. So a lot of the items that were added in and some that were taken out were in direct response to people telling us what they used to like and didn't find available with the first version of the new menu, but they have in the second version, and people seem to really be enjoying that. Another way is a little more empirical in that the customer comment sheets that everyone gets when they eat in one of the venues, they get to fill out. Those get reviewed both in terms of the scores and their comments. Reviewed by, there's a small team of us, including Andrew and Chuck Wimberly, our business manager, and myself. We all sit down and look over things, the financials and how they're doing, in order to report to the treasurer and then to the board and of course to the community. But also about the menus. We look at that and you know, we don't try to tell Andrew what to do with the menu because he's the expert. But we all get together and look at that as a huge part of what he's producing for the community. So there's an awful lot of information coming in, and Andrew does a great job of balancing that all off and producing something. So the current menus seem to be very popular. I do know that I'm a filet mignon man, and I know where I'm going on a given Friday or Saturday night to give it a try. So I personally am very anxious to try parts of the new menu.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's the comment cards are really a great way, because obviously people who take the time and the effort to fill in a card are those who feel most strongly about it. And one usually argues, well, some people who do, they're usually the complainers. But if you're getting positive feedback, that's very good. And in a sense, in relative absence of negative, if people are satisfied, sometimes they'll just let it go at that. Perhaps be nice and helpful if they did say, hey, I was very satisfied tonight, or great job, or whatever it is, a couple of words.
It's true, and people are very kind to take their time with positive comments, because often as a customer you don't bother when it's positive. You think the whole purpose is to convey what came across to you as a negative. But we found that our customers are sincere in taking their time. Every one of them gets read, every word of it. Mm-hmm. And then it's a big picture. But we do take the time to do that every month.
Oh, well, okay. Well, that's great. Big thing within the last basically week, 2 weeks, of course, is the transfer of operations from the main gate over to the operations building just across the road, while basically renovations are being made to what is that nice little structure in the middle of the island. What all is that? Why is it necessary, and what's going on there?
Well, first of all, I would be remiss to not give credit to two committees that did studies just a couple of years ago. Safety and Security and Building and Grounds analyzed the building, its operation, the software, and the procedures for entry control. And what they came up with is that the building itself was old and needed upgrade to service the needs of the people working in it so that they could do their jobs. And that included software positions. So we added a position for the big days. We have a third person in there. But still, the building needed help. The little kitchen type facilities and so forth, people can't leave when they're working there. So they have to have everything provided. So, and then the building looked like it needed some help. A careful or even casual look at the roof would show that the roof was showing its age. Right. So the whole building needed to be dressed up, made more fit for people to put in the long hours and the hard work that they do when they're there. So the combination of better operation, better service to people coming in, and then these reports really drove it, and we were able to take all of that, put it together in a plan that was worked out between our Chief of Police, new Chief of Police, Chief Abbott, and the head of our maintenance department, Tom Schauter, and his planning staff, and they put together the plan that's now in effect. There's a lot to do. You can't just say, okay, we're going to start tearing the building apart. You have to plan where the people are going to be while that work is being done, and then ensure continuity of operations. They've done a great job with that. So as far as the people coming in and out of the gate, they should not notice any difference, except there's nobody in the building. They've been relocated right next door, and they can operate. That was all done. The data lines were put in. Data lines were secured, made operative. New operating location during the renovation was done. And then all the other things that go into planning a construction project, even though this is somewhat minor construction. But we look forward to very little, if any, disturbance at all.
Okay, so the phone connection from Turkey Sag Gate, let's say, now goes to the operations building, where there will be someone, that'll be the same, they remotely raise the gate.
That's right, it's no different. So there's an interesting lesson there. But the big thing is Tony and Tom did a great job planning it to make sure there was no interruption in service. In fact, at the same time, we were fixing a problem with the telephone line to Turkey Sag, which went down just before Christmas. And in that case, it made it impossible to operate the Turkey Sag visitor gate, although we had just put in brand new cameras. Oh dear. Because with the old cameras, identification was very, very difficult at a distance, remotely. So we had just put in the new cameras, and then the telephone line became a problem. So we now have a backup plan in case that link goes down for any reason, both an immediate operations plan of what to do with it, and then a little longer term technical backup that's always in place. Okay. So you couple that with this other project, and there are a lot of changes at the gate. What I would ask people to do is to continue to do the following, if at all possible. Even when we have a third person, On the big days when we expect a lot of guests to come in and we don't want the traffic backed up out into South Boston Road, we really don't, or excuse me, Lake Monticello Road. What we ask people to do is telephone is the last method to report your guest that they should use. Email is always better for those that can do that. And so, because telephoning ties somebody up. So on the days when there's only 2 people, which is most of the time, working, one of those positions is actually Police Operations Center. So they're doing a lot of other work with the police. And then it's very difficult for them when there's a high volume of traffic at the same time to write down the names and enter it into the computer. It's much better to come over by email or fax, and not on the day the guests are coming, if at all possible. So again, it's a request for folks to turn in their guest list as early as possible and only use phone as a last option. That can happen. We realize there's all kind of reasons why people on the day of a guest is the first time they know they have a guest coming.
Right.
But that, again, this should be the last option.
Yeah. Does that hold true for vendors also? You should email in. Do you have to notify now the ops building basically about vendors coming in?
Yes, as early as possible, and email is always best rather than phone.
Okay.
But that option is available. It would be impractical to say that we won't take the phone calls.
All right. And what do we expect in terms of transferring everything back to the renovated little building?
We're looking at the end of March, early April,
for
the whole project to be complete. And we're looking forward to be seamless. We got started yesterday and took all day to finish what we had planned for the day, but it did get done. As always, the first day on a project is always a little bit of back and forth and start and stop, and that did happen yesterday morning, but we're right where we wanted to be on day 2 today.
Okay. All right. We want to mention that Wednesday afternoon, that'll be January 9, the LMOA Board of Directors will be holding a work session here at Fairway Clubhouse, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, public work session to apparently discuss, as you phrased it, prospects for financing reserves, and yet, according to an email from the administration a day or so ago, it does say to discuss a possible dues increase, and you can hear kind of the alarms going off around the community. What would you like to discuss that a little bit? Well,
if there's something the administration, which I'm part of, is guilty of, it's full disclosure. So the statement about possible dues increase is in fact accurate. And part of that is to let everybody know whenever there's anything going on that has to do with the budget. Now we're talking about the 2020 budget. The 2019 budget is there, and we're operating under it right now. So the board, I think, with great prudence, is looking forward to the future needs of the community. So when you have this brand new facility, the brand new facilities that have been built, and the need to, in the future, not only maintain them, but eventually replace certain elements. You know, buildings have a life, roofs have a life, and so forth. What the board would like to do is avoid the need and necessity for special assessments, which are somewhat unpredictable and people have trouble planning for them, and take a look at what might be needed to maintain the facilities. So it's just a first look at options to do that. And it's true that a dues increase could be part of that, and the board wants to fully consider everything that's going on. So in terms of transparency, what we're getting ready to do, including the announcement of this meeting, is we'll have a little box score about the entire budget process that normally starts in June, but in this case it's starting on January 9th with this special meeting that people are invited to come to attend, people can send in their comments. There'll be a period during the meeting when people can address the board, although it's not a town hall meeting, it is a board meeting, but there'll be options like in all the board's meetings to make comments before and after. In addition, I'd like to say that if anyone has a thought about that whole thing, they should feel free to just email me and we'll get it in front of the board in addition to coming to the meeting, or if they can't come to the meeting. But again, the meeting itself is not a town hall meeting. That would really be impossible at this point. But we are looking forward to meeting the community's need for transparency. And so we'll have this box score with the entire budget cycle so people can plan ahead of time if they want to attend or send in any information. But people should not feel shut out from the process.
No, and we should point out that should this go forward and the board decide to make a board proposal for such a dues increase for next year, it would have to be approved by the membership at the annual meeting this coming June. And I'm sure the board would be having some town hall meetings, et cetera, in advance of that.
It's absolutely true that the board is intent on having town hall meetings as part of the whole package. So again, there'll be plenty of opportunity for people to share their thoughts. And I can say this, I'm very proud for myself and the staff in working with the board. They always consider that. They want the input. So people should not be shy about holding back on what their thoughts or questions might be, because the question not asked never gets answered.
Okay, yeah. Some lake historians might notice, note in years past, the need, communication has been that recurring refrain over the years. So let's hope that's the case going forward. And with this communication, thank you very much for your time. It's been great to start the year once again with these series. We appreciate you taking the time to fill in on various aspects of life here at the lake. Thank you. You have been watching GM's Corner, this series of short conversations with Lake Monticello's General Manager Steve Hurwitz about what's on his mind and what's on his agenda and what's really going on. We invite you to come in and join with us once again at future GM's Corners, and also take in the full range of broadcasts here by the LMOA broadcast group right here on your good old Channel 977 or up on YouTube. So till we see you again, on behalf of the broadcast group, I'm Ron Kraus. Again, Happy New Year. Stay well. Thanks for being with us, and good day.